have you ever wanted to write a book? And if you haven't done it yet, have you ever wondered how to go about it? We're here today at Bedford School for the launch of this book, and I'm going to talk first of all to the Headmaster, John Moule, to find out how it all started. John, how did the project get going?
It's a young enterprise project, something that the school does every year, where a group of lower sixth boys get involved to set up a business and learn the art of making money.
Sounds simple, John, but I notice in the foreword you said that some of the children here probably know more now than you did when you were 18. How do you make that out?
Well, I think that's true. I think this year's been a bit special, to be honest. This group have been very ambitious. They've come to see me to ask for advice, and I've always thought probably they're being a bit too ambitious, but they've proved me wrong, and they've produced something that I never would have been able to do then and probably couldn't do now.
And it's a very ingenious idea. Do you think that some of the other quotations in this book will help them learn for the future?
I think the fascinating thing is they've got so many famous people from different walks of life to contribute, and so it's a book that I think appeals to a wide variety of people for that very reason.
I'm talking to Theo Green, who was part of the team here. Theo, what was your role in the project?
Towards the end of the project, towards the competition time, I acted as the spokesperson, so I helped with coming up with our speeches for the competition and also just running the advertisement that we did as well, so I was directing that as well.
And have you got a favourite contribution in the book?
For me, my favourite one is by Lawrence Delalio, and he says to be number one, you have to train like you're number two, and I think that's a really great sort of virtue that everyone should aspire to.
Well, as the sales director, I was mainly coordinating all the sales both within school and outside of school, and most recently I've been coordinating our trip down to Reading to the Waitrose head office, where we have secured a deal for £10,000 worth of books, which comes to around 2,000 copies. That's our our initial start off to get it into the national press and the national shops.
So what happens to the funding that you might raise from this project?
Well, last year, as part of the Young Enterprise scheme, a lot of the money went to Young Enterprise, but we've carried on this year as a partnership. So we are donating all profits to the Prince's Trust, minus all the expenses which we need to print the books, because obviously selling to these big corporations, we don't get much profit ourselves as they have such a high markup.
I think part of the Young Enterprise aim that the boys here have realised is learning by doing. So not all of their plans have worked out over the course of the Young Enterprise year, and I think the point is that I haven't taught them, they've really taught themselves by the experiences they've had on the scheme.
I'm with Matthew Ayres, who's Managing Director of the A21 project. Matthew, a few months ago we came along and talked to school kids involved in Young Enterprise, and this evening we've come along and we've been talking to businessmen. How does it feel?
Well, it's much the same really, still at school, still working. From when you last spoke to us at the county finals, we went on to the regional finals, and unfortunately we were beaten by bird boxes at that point, but that hasn't put us down. We've carried on, and we've had the launch this evening, and we've just carried on as normal students really, still studying, just selling books as a side project.
So what does the future hold for you and your colleagues?
Not sure. I think we just want to go off to university, get some grades, and just keep the book ticking over. Something which, if it takes off, then obviously we'd have to put our force behind it and keep it going. But at the moment, we just keep it running nicely.
I have asked some of your colleagues what their favourite contribution was. Have you got a favourite?
I wouldn't like to say, because we've got a few contributors here this evening. I will say, there's no celebrities here this evening, but I will say that the celebrities ones aren't always the best ones, and in fact those less well-known people do present some fantastic advice to young people, and there's some very notable stuff.
This has been Maurice Hesford for Local News TV. Now I'm off to read this book from cover to cover.